What's going on, everybody? This is AJ Capasso here with Talking with the Source. I'm here with my good friend. Please introduce yourself.
Jonathan Keyworth, JK47 Paranormal.
Awesome. And we have an amazing show. But before we start the show, I wanted to do a shout out real quick. It's a friend of mine. He is a young kid. He's 21 years old, and he started a detailing business over here in Connecticut, USA. And it is 203 Detailing. If you need anything detailed, if you need a paint correction, anything along those lines, his telephone number is on the screen. It's 203-707-7077. His name is Michael. Definitely give him a shout out. He does an amazing job from what you can see with the pictures on the screen that are next to it. But it's 203 Detailing, so definitely check it out. 203 Detailing Paint Correction, 203-707-7077. But that's a lot of sevens, you know?
Yeah.
What's up,
hey,
Nando? What's going on? But
yeah,
anyway, we have an amazing guest today, man. I want to bring him forward. We have a paranormal investigator who's been a paranormal researcher for 25 plus years. He just retired in 2018, and I want to find out what the reasons are. I know all you guys do, so let's bring him forward. His name is Mark Foster. Mark, what's going on, Mark? How are you?
Hey guys, how are you?
Great.
Good, man.
I wanted to say hi real quick to Chris Binder and also Des as well. How are you guys? Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Mark, so the first thing I wanted to ask you was, I want to get right into the controversial stuff. So you retired in 2018 because of how the field was, and you saw some downward spiral where it was going. Tell me a little bit about it, why you got out of it, and what your concerns were.
Well, I mean, there was quite a few things over the last 5 years I was around in the public eye and still investigating. Mostly, I was concerned with the, and we've talked about this before in live broadcasts quite a few times, just here on this show. But I was concerned about a lot of misinformation that was being put out. There's always that assumption of everything is evil and malevolent and wants to harm you and all that. And it just seemed like the more media that was put out there with some of the most popular faces on television and podcasts and YouTube streaming videos and all of that, which I don't have anything against streaming people's investigations online. That's totally fine as far as I'm concerned. The problem was things were becoming more scripted, less spur of the moment. And with any television show, for example, you're going to have very heavy editing. Just with the few shows that I've done in the past, I began to realize that without ratings, they don't have a show. So it's not like you're going to, if I could use this example, you're not going to pay to take a haunted house tour and not have an experience.
Yeah.
And that is completely, as you guys know, completely contradictory to the reason why most of us legitimate people do this.
Exactly.
And it was getting worse and worse and worse. And even some people that I respected and had a relationship, a working relationship with. Um, they were going off in that direction, um, and I'm not sure what the reasons behind it were. Maybe exposure, maybe ego, um, the feast of popularity. I don't know, but uh, when I started all of this, uh, and this is probably going to be hard to believe for some people, um, really paranormal researchers, people interested in the occult, and everything that the paranormal covers, cryptids, all of it. They they basically were in the closet. You know, we weren't people that broadcast to the world that we were out there doing this for fun and for
Yep.
exposure. We were ridiculed. We were looked down upon. People laughed at us, and so forth and so on. And you know, it just became from it being that way when I first got into it to and it's a great conversation piece. Don't get me wrong, but from
Yeah.
when we started, and I say people my age and people that are still in the field, it wasn't this giant popularity game. So that actually spawned and spurred on a lot of misinformation for ratings and exposure. And I just that it kind of made me sick because
Yeah.
people that profit off the suffering of others is not why I got into this at all.
No.
Yeah.
So
I do all my work for free. I don't charge
yeah,
anybody anything.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah, we should.
That's the main thing, you know, and those are the people that I work with, man. I work with people that are like John, who are just willing to help people because you know what, that's what this field should be about. And you're absolutely right. You know, for people to make a penny off of someone else's suffering is really, really messed up. And
Yeah.
you know, you got to put those people on blast. I mean, you know what? I never put anybody on blast on this show, just because of just because I don't want the controversy of the show. But I'm gonna put somebody on blast right now, and it's Sam and Colby. Sam and Colby is a channel on YouTube. They go to all these haunted places and they basically make up a bunch of bullshit. Now they recently caught like a really good, I guess, capture, and they were on some kind of podcast show, a real big one, and they revealed it, and it was a good capture, but the ancient Ram Inn, they went there and they lied about the history. They lied about all this stuff that was there. They did all the stuff that the lady asked not them to do, and they did it anyway. They released the video, and now the lady didn't want Global Ghost Hunt, who is our company, to be sponsored. They didn't want to be sponsored by us because of Sam and Gold, because we're an American-based thing. And we had to explain to them, like, listen, it's not an American based, it's actually Canadian based, and you know, we're not like that. We're about respect. And luckily Ancient Ramen is now a part of Global Ghost Hunt, thankfully. But because of stuff like that, of them going in, making up all this bull crap, and you know, people believing it and them getting thousands and thousands of views off of it, people are like, you know, it's almost like people are stupid to this, you know what I mean? Like they think like paranormal investigating is exciting 24/7, and that's not the case. You know, I wish,
Yeah.
trust me, I wish.
I mean, I've sat in locations, you know, and I've had thousands of cases over the last 25 plus years, and I've sat in places for 12 hours and not had any type of data or anything indicating or leading up to any type of paranormal activity. And you're exactly right, AJ. It's people think that it's all, you know, let's rip our shirts off and scream into the darkness and call everything the D word. But it really isn't. It's so much more mundane than
Yeah,
that. But
it
you
is.
have to have a passion and a heart for it.
You do. You absolutely do. And like Chris Bender just said in the comments, he calls it ghost fishing now. And it's just like fishing, you know,
Yeah,
we throw a line out there and we hope
for
to get
sure.
a bite.
Love it.
Sometimes we do, sometimes we don't. So,
Yeah,
you know, he's absolutely right.
No,
yeah,
and I agree
yeah.
with that. Like there's times I've been on investigations because I do everything live. if I make sure that people see what I see, so it can't be debunked because I can't do editing and crap right in front of me, And there's been times where not a single thing happens, don't get a single voice out of anything, and I'm just like, sorry guys, that's the name of the game. Usually it gets better the second night. So
And the other, we were talking about that salmon person with the Ram Inn. That's not the first time we've had that experience in that location with a team or a podcaster or a live streamer. And Emerald Isle. You guys know Emerald Isle, yeah?
Yeah.
Investigations. I think they were recently there, and they said a lot of things on their live feed straight. About they didn't. I don't think they mentioned the name that you mentioned, but really, it sounds like that particular person is sort of like. And not to put anybody on blast, but everybody knows the laughing stock of this field. Mr. Hair Gel, everybody wants to be like him, and have their own, something about Mary, podcast. And unfortunately, for the last 20 years, pieces of shit like that are spawning new pieces of shit like that, to where they got to make stuff up. And
sad.
It's just awesome.
It's sad because there's not creative people anymore. Everyone is stealing from somebody else, trying to profit, and it's like, you know what?
Dude, look at all the other people that get rich off of those clips. So then they copy those clips and they make a video of all that, and all they're doing is just cutting and paste. I always say, go get your own crap. Why you have to promote other people?
Yeah, my favorite thing are these compilations. There's a few that I actually follow. And they do the compilations, top 50 most haunted places, and it's the same title on every video. And there's at least 99% of it's the same shit they did in the other video.
So gotta love it.
And they're stealing people's, stealing people's data and evidence just to get ahead and get those stupid clicks. You know what I mean? It's like that's not what this is about, man. It's trust me.
I always end up blocking
them.
So I don't see them, they don't see me, and
I think they're hilarious.
I
think they're hilarious.
And then you get the people in the comments, the trolls that happen. But you want to know what? What are you gonna do? That's the name of the game nowadays, and it sucks. And unfortunately, hopefully, real teams can push this back and get this back into a scientific kind of way. But we can only hope. But on a better note,
and I feel like. I feel like that we are in kind of a pre-Renaissance. I feel like once people get tired of the same nonsense, the general public anyway, they're going to stop watching, they're going to stop clicking, and they're going to step back and go, what is this, what is this really about? Or I don't care about that anymore. So when it stops becoming this fad, and it starts becoming more research-based and fact-based, then the Renaissance will truly happen, and we'll all be sitting in that same closet, making secret telephone calls on a can with a string on it, and pulling out our giant 4-track reel-to-reels and our high-density studio mics, and we'll go back to the Warren style. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Now, tell me, with the two teams that you were successful with, what was some of the most scariest things that you've encountered?
Just with Moonlight. You're talking about Moonlight Paranormal, yeah?
Yeah, Moonlight. Yep.
Yeah. I mean, there was quite a few that we could talk about, but one that sticks out in my mind is when we first started out. One of our first cases, and I had a completely different team at the beginning than I did at the end. One of the first cases that we took was in Alton, Illinois, which I live now in this area. And we did 3 properties in one night. I had to break in a couple of rookies and a self-proclaimed medium. And I would like to get into that here in a little while as well. So the first place, the first location, same client, 3 different locations. She was flipping houses, and she couldn't seem to keep any of her crews on the other 2 properties she was trying to flip. Long story short, these guys would leave in the middle of the day, tools left there, thousands of dollars worth of tools. They would leave, and she would never hear from them again.
Wow.
A couple months later, she'd see an advertisement on Facebook, or somebody would talk to her about them, and they'd be out there working for other companies. But if you don't know the storied past of Alton, then it's not as impactful. To put it plainly, this is one of the most haunted little cities in America. They had a Civil War prison here, and right after the war ended, a lot of the stone that they used from the local bluffs that they quarried to build the prison ended up getting dispersed throughout this town. And so now you have all of this imprinted energy from such a horrible place. And I mean, this place had no running water. They were pissing and drinking out of the same stream. I mean, it was like Auschwitz, really, in a nutshell. 50 years before it happened. And there's an island here right on the Mississippi off of the shoreline, where it was a cholera island, where they would stick all the infected on the island and basically wait for them to die. There was a hospital there, and they had doctors, but they didn't know what they were dealing with back in the day. So you put all of that. Yeah.
That reminds me of Provelia. Yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Please go. Please keep going.
No, you're fine. So you put all that energy together. Never mind the 200-year-old cemeteries and Confederate cemetery that they have here, and so many other amazing locations like McMashin and Mineral Springs Hotel, which GA has done several times, and I stopped patronizing that place once that started happening. But that's another story for another day. So these 3 locations. The first location was her home, and her children were being terrorized by something unseen. And we went up into the children's bedrooms. They were on the 2nd floor of this 3-level house. And the minute you walked in up the stairwell to go to these rooms, and as you walked in, there was a room here, and there was a room here, and then one straight ahead. So there was 3 bedrooms. One of the children had said that they had woke up one night, she said sometime after midnight, and said that something tried to reach out and grab her through the wall. Now, they're on the 2nd level, so no one's reaching in the windows on the 2nd level, but she said the wall. So we go in, we sit down, we kill all the lights, we go dark, and we start doing an EVP session. And the medium that was with us, she actually had an SLR camera and was a photographer and a former model. So she knew her way around a camera. And every time she took a picture, there were these streams of light in the photos, that some of which we had seen. And at one point, we heard scratching and growling coming out of the walls. And now we didn't ask for any more information than the basic story. And when we expressed to the owner, this is the area that we heard and experienced this, and we caught it on tape. We were running DVRs, obviously. And by the way, one of the things that really pisses me off and irritates me is when these people walk around with their DVRs. It's like, sit it down in the room and walk away. Because you rubbing that mic against your jacket is not a spirit telling you they're gonna bite you or whatever. So we ended up doing a cleansing on the house, and then we moved on to property number 2. It's about 2:00 in the morning, and that property's still vacant, and it's still here, and I could take you right to it. But the second property was an old like a farmhouse. It was, obviously this land was all farm at one point, but that was one of the places that they could not keep a crew on. We walked in, and I swear to God, there was about a $500 bandsaw there that had barely had the plastic taken off of it. There were tools everywhere. Only the parlor room was the only room that had nothing in it. And we actually found a hidden door off the parlor there that went into the walls. When we investigated further, we realized that in most of these homes, and this dawned on me middle of the investigation, was that when they built these homes, they always had a safe room. So if warring factions were to roll through town, they would put their wife and kids in there, grab their musket, and go for a walk. But they would be secure with canned goods and water, cans of water, things of that nature, or jugs of water, so that when the husbands would come back, they could retrieve their family and they'd be safe and sound. So we realized that's what that was, and over the years they had boarded it up, but it was a 5x6 room that you could fit 4 or 5 people in. So with that, we understood there might have been some possible psychic imprint on the location. That was my assumption anyway, and we kind of figured out that's what it was. So we decided to go down into the basement. Why is it always the basement?
I know.
Why is it always the
basements and closets?
Yeah, exactly. And it's never the kitchen,
Right. Where the food is.
So, ma'am, you don't have a demon in your kitchen. That's just your new ice maker. So, so we head down to the basement. The 3 of the 4 of us did. And as I'm leading the charge down there, something put its pressure up against my chest and I couldn't move. And I was telling my people, I said, push me down the stairs. I'm 2 steps from the floor of this place. They could not move me. Now, I was a lot skinnier back then. I'm about 210 now. I was about 165 pounds back in the day. And one of my investigators is actually 6 foot plus and could really pack a wallop if he wanted to hurt you.
Yeah.
So once we pushed through that, finally the pressure let up. And once we pushed through that, we got down into the basement and we captured a few EVPs that we did an immediate review on. We had the headphones in and we were listening as we were recording, which is one of the only times I would ever carry my DVR around. But I had a little whistle for it, so it couldn't brush up against anything. Long story short, we caught what we found out was actual Latin being spoke in the basement.
Oh, wow.
And once we left the location to take a breather, one of my teammates noticed that on my arm, I had scratches on the back of my arm. Now you can guess what they were, the mocking of the Trinity.
Yeah.
So that happened, and then this place had no power, by the way, there was no electricity to it. But as we turned to go back in and kind of say our goodbyes and be respectful, the lights in the attic, which had a steeple type of attic on it, the light popped on. And there was literally no power box on the side of this house.
Wow.
Nothing. And we could see someone walking back and forth. So I'm getting chills now just recounting it.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So idiot me, I decided I'm gonna charge back up there and go see who's up in the house, because it could have been a vagrant, could have been a homeless person.
I'll go up there, yeah.
So I run up there and I grab the ladder and I put it on the port to the attic, and because it didn't have one of the fold down ones, so I seen they had a 6 foot ladder there, so I put it up there. I get up in the attic, and the light is on, and I'm hearing what sounded like I want to say like a combination of a young girl and a goat, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And it's like literally screaming, and everybody heard it.
Oh my
So I was
God.
like, I got the note out of there. I slid down the ladder like a firefighter, and I said, okay, so let's go on to the next property.
Yeah.
So that was pretty terrifying. But that's the one that stands out in my mind from the last 10 years. Yeah. And she said that light never came on again. Wasn't ever able to sell the property either. So
That is
I'll buy
wild.
it.
I
I'll
couldn't
buy it. Go
imagine
live
like
there.
experiencing that, and then seeing
I'll
that
invite you
person in the
back.
attic.
if some little goat girl came out of the darkness, nope.
Oh no!
I
I
Let's
would
say
get
be
the
like,
fuck out.
Yeah.
oh hell no!
My biggest fear, I don't care if it crawls on the ground or slides across the walls, but the minute I see some shit on the ceiling, I'm out.
Yeah,
I don't
Get
do
the
that.
fuck
I don't do
out.
that. You know what I'm talking about?
upside down. Yep.
Um,
No, I'm good.
oh,
I'm
I'm
good. I
proving
saw
it's
that shit
not
in movies.
fake.
nope.
With my live
We're not
feed, I'm like,
spider walking anywhere together. We are
Yep.
not. We are not going to be friends. We're not spider walking anywhere together. So
Yep.
yeah.
Exactly. Now, tell me, Mark. How? Actually, John, go ahead and ask your question, brother.
oh man, no, those are great stories, man. So, are you completely done with investigating now, or do you ever,
Um,
kind of spot
I
on
still
stuff?
I still have quite a few out of the hundreds I used to have. Not very many, but I still have a few contacts that I do consult on. I haven't actually been on an investigation in over 3 years. So actually 4 years if you want to get technical. Um, so I do have international contacts that I still communicate with here and there. Um, so I'm not, I'm 99% out. I'm not going to be gearing up anytime soon and taking on any big cases.
Yeah.
Do you still do you still look at clips and like, man, I wish I could see that, like, or like if I was in your neighborhood, I said, dude, let's go, come on, man.
I mean, if you drove through town and said, "Hey, I got a spot, let's go," I'd be like, "All right, let me grab a few pieces of equipment."
Yeah.
All
But
right,
yeah,
all right.
we can go dowsing. That's fine.
I'm working on it, man. That's gonna be the future. Getting in an RV and just going for a while. Come back home every now and then.
If
Yeah.
there was money in it, and to where you could do that, absolutely. Or if I won the lottery, I'd probably get a nice RV and take it on the road.
Yep.
Hell yeah,
That'd be a
man.
dream. That'd be a dream. I wanted to
Yeah.
ask you. So, when out of the 25 plus years that you've been a paranormal researcher, man, tell me what was your go-to like equipment? What would you use the most?
My actually, my physical researchers, my physical self, my I realized late in the game that I had developed after all these cases had developed a sensitivity to spirit. Um, and I'm super basic when it comes to investigating. Give me a few cameras and tripods, a couple of DVRs, a couple of night vision cameras, um, and just let's go. I don't need these ghost boxes. And no, I used to have an SP7, but I mean, they're kind of unreliable as far as their credibility, anyway. In my opinion, they're great devices. If you're in a place that's in the middle of a dead zone, no pun intended,
Yeah.
because then you're not picking up any radio signals. But yeah, the human emotion, the human body, the natural ability that we all have to tune into spirit
Yeah.
is very much a basic tool. So yeah.
Well, I don't blame you. That's one thing that is the most important, in my opinion.
Mhm. And if
So,
I always used to tell my investigators, if there's ever a time where you don't feel comfortable or you feel afraid, get out. Don't be the hero.
yeah. Yep.
And it's saved us a lot of grief over the years. So
Oh,
I'm
I
I'm
can
very
imagine.
happy for that.
Yeah. I mean, think about all the times you must have saved yourself from getting an attachment, or saved the
Hmm.
team, you know?
Oh yeah, and that happened to me twice in all those
Yeah.
years.
I was about to ask you. Tell me a little
Yep.
bit about what happened.
Well, um, we had a case in Lake of the Ozarks, Missouri, back in 2016, I believe it was. No, 2015. Pardon me. And it was this trailer. We drove all the way from Dexter, Missouri to this trailer 3 hours away. It was owned by this guy's father who had passed away. And his claims were that he was being basically tortured by his father from the other side. He couldn't sleep, he couldn't eat. Anytime he ever ate anything, he would almost immediately throw it up. He went from 200 plus pounds to a whopping 127 pounds in less than 6 months because he wasn't eating, he wasn't sleeping. Hey, no drugs were involved. So anybody that wants to have me clarify that, there was no, hardcore drugs or not even really any drinking going on with this guy because he was just stressed to the max.
Yeah.
So we went in, we did the investigation, and during the investigation, I caught a male voice several times.
Hey, Stu.
Tell me that he was going to basically kill me. And this was during a solo EVP session that I did in the father's bedroom. He came through, in my opinion, it was him. And he came through several times in this recording, and I actually put that on my Facebook page that's not really been active since 2018, but all of that audio is there for anyone that wants to go and check it out. And that's Moonlight Paranormal Investigations. Moonlight spelt wrong, by the way, Lite, not light.
L-I-T.
So anyway, yeah. Well, I'm an idiot. Whatever. So we get back.
It works, dude. It works.
We get back from this investigation after 9 long hours and 3 hours travel time back. But before we left, he gave us this vessel. It was almost like an urn, but it was from the Civil War that his dad had held on to for many, many years. So I said, you know what? I really don't accept gifts or money or anything for what we do. And the gentleman said, no, you don't understand. I think my father's attached to this, and that's why he's bothering me. Wow. So we went ahead and wrapped the vessel in salt and said a blessing and saged the vessel just to safely get it back to Dexter, Missouri. And once we got it back, I started falling into a deep depression for no reason whatsoever. I didn't want to eat. I didn't want to sleep. You see where this is going, yeah?
Yeah.
So it's almost like
gas station trash can.
right, thrown in a dumpster. Well, I had a very close friend of mine that took care of haunted objects and knew how to properly dispose of them or bind them. And I was going to bring that up to her in St. Louis the next time we went up. I didn't think much of it. I ended up putting it in the garage behind my house at the time, and things just got worse. It felt like the energy was even worse than it was when I had the thing sitting in my office in my house.
Yeah.
So long story short, my teammate, another medium, comes down from St. Louis to visit and do an investigation at an old, it's a music store now, but it's in Poplar Bluff, Missouri. It used to be a brothel, a church, and they had cold storage for dead bodies during the Civil War at one point. So it also worked as a field hospital. And this place had 3 layers, balconies on the inside.
Wow.
Right? So we were going to check it out. We had this amazing opportunity to check it out. So she came down and immediately I didn't tell her about it. She didn't go with us on that investigation, by the way. So I immediately told her about this thing that was happening. She said, yeah, you seem a lot different. You seem off. She said, when I got out of the car and we hugged you, it was like you were being held down by a mudslide, And so I showed her the vessel, and she wouldn't touch it. She said, nope, not doing it. We're going to do anything with this. We're going to take it somewhere. Yeah, gas station. Well, we ended up taking it to the cemetery. We ended up taking it to the cemetery and put it in a large mason jar and did a blessing on it, saged it, salted the earth, replaced the soil, and I felt like a whole new person as soon as that last shovelful went into the ground.
Wow.
So, but that was the last experience.
isn't it a weird feeling when something lifts off of you? Because you could feel it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Like
really
you just
crazy.
feel
It's like
normal
something's-
again.
It's like when you're in it, it's like something's tugging on your coil, your mortal coil, and then once it's gone, it's as if he's been reborn in a lot of ways.
Yep. Yep. I know exactly what you're talking about because I've had attachments before, and that's exactly how it felt. It's
Well,
like
I had one last weekend. So.
Well, we always said a prayer before we went into any location, and then one to close out tonight, just for all intents and purposes.
Of course,
you know.
Of course, I would have too. Yeah.
And always kept a few crystals of protection and things of that nature. I used to carry a lot of onyx around to absorb any negative energy, and then we cleanse it. So, but the attachments are no fun, and they're not anything to play with. And that's the other, going back to why I left the field. It's all a game. It's all a game until someone ends up, crawling on the ceiling. You know what I'm saying? It's these people don't know they don't know what they're messing with.
Yeah.
And then everybody wants to feel sorry for them when they get fucked up.
None of us know what we're messing with. To be truly
isn't
honest.
Isn't that the Army saying,
you're right.
fuck around and find out?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. A meme somewhere. It's SpongeBob.
Yep.
Yeah. Fuck around and find out.
Yep.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. Now tell me a little bit about the medium situation that you were going to talk about.
Okay. This is where things get interesting. Up until about 2017, one of my personal unspoken goals was to always have a psychic, medium, or sensitive person on one of my teams or my investigations. And the whole purpose of that was so I could debunk every single time they tried to claim that they were feeling, seeing, or hearing something.
Yeah.
So I'd always make them go in blind, no history on a location. The only person we never briefed before we went in was the medium, psychic, what have you.
Yeah.
I've only worked with 3 total that I can actually say I believe were entirely legit. One of them is an expert because she has now passed away.
Oh, wow.
The other one, the other male, is an expert because he has also now crossed the veil to be with his wife, Lorraine. Yep. So those 2 are, demonology is an iffy subject for me too. But as far as active results and documented results with a medium, you can't argue with that work. And then the other one is actually the gal that was on my last incarnation here in St. Louis of the team, and 100% legit. Now here's the irony. I was like who is that guy that he offers, I think it's up to $10 million now to anyone that can prove that they're telekinetic or what's his name?
James Randi.
Yeah, James Randi. Thank you. And I think that bounty is still out there.
It is.
So I was kind of the James Randi of what we were doing at the time and throughout the years, because I never believed. Every time they would say, "Oh, there's a little girl over there," bullshit, and then that type of stuff.
Yeah.
So in 2017, my investigations had slowed down. I was getting ready to wrap up a career in that outside of my normal full-time job, and I had an experience one night that I can only describe as an out-of-body experience. I was halfway between REM and consciousness.
Yeah.
And I could feel myself leave my body, my physical body. Yeah. And as the story always goes, I remember turning around and looking down, and there was me looking at me.
Yeah.
With the silver
and
cord,
then
right?
Yeah, actually, yes. And when that happened, I slammed back into my body and jolted. You know, like when you have those falling dreams.
Dude, what did
Yeah.
I say to you? Did I not say that to
Yeah.
you, John? What about mine?
Yep.
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 So I had that happen to me, which it wouldn't be the first time, but I never understood what it was about really. And then a
Yeah.
few weeks later, I saw a little girl in my backyard. And I said, okay, she doesn't look like any of the neighbor kids. She's wearing a little sundress. You know, I couldn't really pin down the period or time that it may
Yeah.
have been from because it looked normal.
Yeah.
So I went out the back door to see what the hell was going on. There was kids in my backyard. And she turned to me and she put her finger up to her lips and she shushed me. So I started walking towards her. And as I did, she turned around and just kind of dissipated. And this was broad daylight.
Dude,
Now, my
tell
neighbor was
wait,
standing.
hold on. Validate something for me because I've watched the spirit dissipate from like complete solid before. Tell me, does it
Yeah,
not remind you of leaves being taken by the wind, the way they dissipate? Like it's
sometimes.
like it's weird. It's the
Sometimes. I've
weirdest.
had that experience. Yes.
Yeah, it's
Yes.
so
And then there's
crazy.
other ones that evaporate like a mist. So
Yeah, yep, that
this one,
evaporates like a
this
mist.
little girl, she evaporated like a mist. It just,
Yeah.
she was there and then she was gone. And my
Wow.
neighbor was over the other side and he says, hey, who's that little girl you guys got staying at the house? And now I'm already stunned and in shock. And I said to him, I said, well, Jerry, I said, I don't know who you're talking about, but I think I just saw the little girl that, you know, that you
Yeah.
might be referencing it. And he said, wait, she's not staying with you. I said, no. He said, well, I talked to her 2 days ago.
Oh
I
shit.
said, what do you mean? So what do you mean you talked to her 2 days ago? And he says, God is my witness. We had a full blown conversation over the fence. And I said, about
Wow.
what? He said, well, she said she was staying here with you. And I won't say my ex girlfriend's name, but, you know,
Oh, you froze. Damn, right the good part.
Right.
Oh
No.
no. Come
It's
back,
spirit.
Mark. Come back.
It's spirit.
Oh man, it's
Dude,
spirit.
dude,
He's coming.
I'm telling you, once you astral project, once that is accomplished, you're more able to open your third eye more. So that's why he's starting to see that stuff.
Oh, 100%. Let me see if
Telling
he's
you.
hold on.
Oh, there he is. He's moving now.
He's moving now. All right. Oh.
He was.
Well, everyone, sorry for the delay, but yeah, that is absolutely wild.
That is
Because,
crazy stuff, man.
oh my gosh, because there's so many accounts of that happening, like where people will have this conversation with spirit, and you know, it's like,
No, I agree, man. I've seen it. The white mist that he's explained. I've seen that in my house. I've seen it at locations. Yeah, I just not afraid of it anymore. You know, like at first I was kind of terrified of it.
yeah. Hey, Mark, I don't know what's going on, but your camera's not showing up.
It's spirit fucking with him.
Yo,
He's
it
giving
really
all the
is.
secrets away. He's
Right?
giving all the secrets away.
He was about to give the secrets away to life, and all of a sudden the girl was like,
They're like,
nope.
cut his feed. Cut
Yeah.
his feed. The men in black.
But
cut his
here's the
feed.
messed up part. If I take him off the screen in the background, he's moving and he's fine.
Is
That's
he?
the weird part.
I don't. He looks frozen, like he's holding his hand to his head.
Well, anyway, until he comes back, everyone, that was totally insane because we were just talking about this little girl and how, he saw her and she dissipated. And then all of a sudden the neighbor the next day literally was like, yeah, what are you talking about? That little girl's not staying with you. She told me she was staying with you. And they had a full blown conversation. And then all of a sudden he's going to tell us about the conversation. And then boom, just got cut out like
Spirit
out of
said,
nowhere.
"Fuck you."
out
I'm
of
telling you,
nowhere.
and
Like, we can't even get him back.
and he has not done crap for 3 years with paranormal, dude. That's the crazy thing. He hasn't done any investigations or anything, and all of a sudden he's talking about his experiences. It just cuts off, dude.
Yeah, this is all we see. This is it. We just see a black screen.
He hasn't called back, so I hope Spirit didn't take him. I hope he's not fighting something crawling on the ceiling or something.
I know, right?
Because he said he would run for that. So.
Well, anyway,
The Broncos won. All you Bronco fans out there.
there you go. But anyway, everyone, on a note, on a crazy note, Chris says no ceiling crawlers. You're absolutely right. Anyway, from anyone who was watching and got to catch all of that, I know we have like 9 people watching, and I know you guys.
Oh, he's back.
Oh, he's back. Hold on, let's bring him up forward. Let's see if he's back. Oh, he's back. Oh, yes.
Yeah, you know how bad the internet is here. I am. So we're in a really, I'm actually at work, and we're in a very old golf course country club. So the Wi-Fi up here is really bad. I apologize, guys.
We thought the little girl attacked you because you were about to tell us what the conversation was about, and then all of a sudden,
she's standing here in front of me, and she's about to. What?
Oh yeah.
At least it's not crawling on the ceiling, right?
Exactly. Yeah, we're not doing that.
So, Chris, finish the story and tell us, what did the little girl say to the neighbor? That sounds like a joke.
They just had a full-blown conversation, he said, for like 5 minutes. That she was staying with me and my ex, and she was going to stay at the house for the summer, and that was about it. And I said, well, that's I didn't want to, this guy's old school, so I didn't want to freak him out or, make him think I'm the nutty neighbor next door. So we just kind of left it at that. And I said, yeah, she went home. What else am I supposed to say?
So wild.
No, she's gone.
Yeah, she went home. It's all good. Yeah, apparently she was staying with us. I didn't know. So, but yeah,
She went to your house.
It was quite interesting.
That is wild.
My goodness. But that's one of the more lighthearted things. But after that, I started hearing, feeling, and seeing more things. And I don't know if you heard me earlier, right before I cut out, I had said that I felt like my third eye was finally opening.
Yeah.
And
that's what I said, yeah.
And boy, was I right. Boy, was I right, because here I am getting out of the field, and now I'm seeing, hearing, feeling, and able to communicate with spirit. And if I don't put my blinders up at any given moment, I can be approached by any given spirit. It's really odd. I've never expected to experience that.
I think it's because they know that you help them. You were doing it for the right reasons. Your intentions were good, and they don't want you to go.
Well, my favorite thing about it, I have to say, is that my accuracy, the few times I've utilized my gifts, has been pretty darn good. And then sometimes when it wasn't very good in the moment, later on, the person that I was communicating with on this plane would contact or reach out to me and say, hey, remember I told you were wrong about that? Well, I talked to my mom last week. So, that's happened a few times. But when I relay messages or do any type of reading for anyone, I'm giving them the information that the spirit is giving me. So everything that they're saying to me or showing me is being given to the client or the friend or the associate or whoever I am trying to help out. I had a very strange experience one time, though. I will tell you this one. I was grocery shopping at a local market here in Alton, and this guy in a jumpsuit, like a mechanic's outfit, was standing back by the the meat counter, and he kept staring at me and staring at me. And I just kind of ignored him. I mean, he was playing his days. You guys are here with me. And I didn't really think anything about it. But this lady came out of one of the aisles with her two children. She had a small, maybe 1-year-old child in the seat, and then a 7 or 8-year-old child with her. A very nice Caucasian lady. Her kids were beautiful, mixed children, and and then it dawned on me that this guy in this mechanic suit, well, he's African American, and I can't remember what his name was on his name patch, but he looked like he had been doing some work. You know, he had crease stains and all that.
Yeah.
So he starts pestering me. I go into the aisle to ignore him, and I turn around and he's standing right here in front of me.
Wow.
So he turns his head and he looks back to the lady and the two kids and he points. He hasn't said anything to me. He hasn't vocalized anything to me. I haven't been given any vision, nothing of that nature. But I felt this ultimate sadness, and I turned back around to put something in my cart, and I turned back around and he was gone.
Wow.
So I hear a voice from behind me, a large booming voice. This man was about 6'2", 6'3", built like a brick shit house. Looked like you could tear the horns off of or antlers off a deer with his bare hands, a live deer. And so I hear this voice from behind me. He says, I need you to tell her that I love her.
Oh, wow.
So I'm like, oh, shit. Is this really happening right now in a grocery store?
Right.
Now, this is a mom and pop joint. It's not a normal. So I look like the crazy fucker talking to myself because nobody can see this guy talking to me. So little humor there, but it gets more intense. I walk over to the lady and I say, ma'am, I don't know you. You don't know me. And I put my hands up and, non-threatening. I said, I need to ask you a question.
Yeah.
So she said, okay, what? And I said, do you know, and I can't remember his name. She said, yeah, that's my husband. I said, okay, he wants me to tell you that he's sorry that he passed away on the river while he was working on one of the barges, and that it wasn't his fault and it wasn't his coworker's fault. And he's also sorry that he never got to meet his son. So I don't know this woman from Adam or Eve. And he says, tell her my kids' names. So I tell her kids' names and her name. I said, he's telling me that he got into an accident on the barge almost 2 years ago. And that's when he left. He left you, and he's very sorry, but he loves you. And this woman burst into tears because I gave her a description of this man.
Oh,
At the time, I still had a Chicago driver's license. So I said, look, I'm not from here. I just moved here 6 months ago.
Wow.
And so she broke down and hugged me and thanked me. And then that's when the one that was the 7 or 8-year-old looked up at her and she goes, the little girl says, what did she say? Oh, is Daddy coming home? Because he's over there. And she points over to the deli counter where he's standing.
Oh, wow.
So that all happened out of nowhere. Needless to say, I haven't grocery shopped there in a long time.
Yeah. I definitely, I would feel the same.
Yeah.
But the good thing, though, is I have seen this woman and her children from time to time since that happened. And we each will meet eyes and she'll smile and I'll give her a wink and she'll wave. And it's like an unspoken thing, which is very, very sweet, very tender. So very, very interpersonal.
That is awesome. So, it shows that there, even though you have experienced some negative side of this field, the love and the amount of love that you've experienced in this field is more vast than the hatred and all the other stuff that you have seen and dealt with what's going on with this field. So it's so good to hear that. And I'm really happy to hear, what you've shared with us today. That was awesome.
Oh, yeah.
Well, thank you guys so much. I mean, this has been what, 6 months trying to get me on the show.
I know, man.
But I really appreciate it.
Well, no, I want to bring you back on because you have some evidence that is still available at your hands, correct?
Yeah.
I would like to bring you back on, and I would like to do a show where we could just show some of the evidence if we could. So
Okay.
you're not.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what I'll do is when we get off of this, I'll message you on Messenger, and we'll set up a date immediately because I have dates all available, and we'll get you set up for that so that we don't have to wait 6 months again.
Yeah.
To get you on. So, but no,
I'm
but
getting
thank
pretty
you
old,
so
so my time is limited.
There you go.
I'll be 47 in 2 months. So.
Yeah, right.
Oh, well, so you know how I'm feeling.
There you go. There you go. Well, hey, Mark, thank you so much for joining us. I appreciate it. And thank you so much for what you're sharing
My
with
pleasure.
us. It's the truth, and I appreciate
My
it a
pleasure.
lot.
Yeah, man. Thank
Yeah,
you
my
so
pleasure.
much.
And if you guys,
Brought light to you.
if you guys would like to, if you guys would like to check out how I got my journey started, I believe my episode of Paranormal Survivor is being replayed somewhere on TV. So look out for that.
All right.
Awesome.
Yeah. Hell
Do you know the episode number and season by chance?
Yeah, season 2, episode 6, Child Victims.
There you go. You heard it first.
Season 2, episode
by the way,
6.
By the way, I'm the only person I believe that's ever said I shit my pants on live television.
This is going to be awesome to watch. See, so we have definitely a lot to go over. So we will have you on in the next coming weeks. I appreciate you, Mark. And until then,
awesome.
We'll talk to you soon.
Yes. Thank you,
Absolutely,
Mark.
man. Take care of you guys. God bless.
Bye.
Bye.
Did you edit?